Thank you for tuning in. And we begin this half hour in New Brunswick, where the province is bracing for more rain as the area around the St. John River continues to be ravaged by floods. And authorities are urging residents to leave their homes ahead of worsening conditions. CTV's Sneha Kulkarni is following this story. And Sneha, what's the situation on the ground as we speak?
Well, Jen, it's a very challenging situation. Officials are expecting a turn for the worse right now. More than 40 roads are washed out as we speak, and people are being rescued from flooded homes by boat. Emergency officials say this is the worst flooding they have ever faced.
One of the real consequences is we're entering uncharted territory. Exactly what homes will end up flooding, what roads may end up being impacted, it will all be new. Right now, this is unprecedented. So everyone's working very hard to try and stay on top of things.
Now, overnight, St. John's water levels hit a record 5.4 meters, which is the same level as the city's worst ever recorded flood. That was back in 1973. But in this case, more rain is now expected in the next 48 hours. So it's now feared water levels could rise another 40 centimeters by the end of Saturday. Today, emergency officials in New Brunswick are urging people to leave their homes for safety. And they're pressing that help won't be coming if you choose to stay at home. I want to show you a map that shows the worst affected areas south of the St. John River. The portion in red is under high alert. About 2,000 people there are under an evacuation alert. We spoke to one resident of St. John who described to us the steps she had to go through to get herself and her dogs to safety.
Really a scary situation, especially like we're carrying our dogs, but you see a lot of the residents bringing their children across to the bus, still going to school. So everybody's a bit of a loss on what to do.
Now, Claudine says she is lucky as her home is not underwater at the moment, at least. But she says many of the buildings near her are completely flooded out. So she, like many people, are staying with friends or family until they're told it is safe to go home. Jen?
My goodness me, the pictures are amazing. Now, I know the federal government, Sneha, says it's on standby to help. What resources are available?
Well, there's a few things the federal government can do. It's on notice at the moment and says there is help if it is needed. It'll be up to the province to make that call if it needs the extra resources. Members of the Canadian Forces could be deployed to help on the ground with things like sandbagging and other emergency measures. In the meantime, though, we know that the province has launched a disaster financial assistance program. Premier Brian Gallant says damage reports are coming in, but it will be some time before they get a total tally. The province's fund, though, will allow property owners to apply for up to $150,000 to cover damages to private homes, up to $500,000 for damages to businesses. Now, we know that the flooding in this province in 2008 led to $50 million in damages, but the province expects this time around the damages could be much higher. I'll send it back to you, Jen.
Okay, Sneha, thank you. Meantime, I want to bring in Andre Faust. He's a resident of Lower St. Mary's, New Brunswick, just down the road from Fredericton. He also lived through the 1973 flooding of New Brunswick, and we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, Andre. How is this different from 1973?
Well, there's quite a bit of difference from where I'm living at. In 1973, it was over our property. I live right on the edge of the St. John River. It's about maybe 70 feet away from me. As I'm speaking to you, I'm looking out my picture window, and I see the river, and it looks like it's about a meter below the property line.
Wow. You know, we're showing a picture of your home and we're seeing the water, and I bet you it's gotten higher since this last photo was taken. What are you doing right now for your home and your situation?
Well, I guess when you become a veteran after going to two major floods, you do things ahead of time to mitigate your damages. So I pretty well had taken care of everything. The only thing that I'm going to have to worry about is the aftermath. One thing, though, I guess I'd like to bring out is about pumping your basement out. You don't want to empty your basement because your walls will collapse or your floor, because the physics is that the inside of the basement is going to try to equalize to what's on the outside. I keep my level about 10% lower than what the outside is, so that doesn't stress the walls out. But I have 26 inches of water in my basement too.
Andre, that is a great tip, and thank you for that, because I bet you not a lot of people are aware that you're right. If you drain all the water out of your basement, the pressure from the exterior water and on the walls could collapse the home. So that's a great tip from a veteran who clearly has survived previous floods. Are you considering leaving your home at all?
No. I've got a set of scuba tanks, and I've got a boat with a wheelhouse, so if things gets worry, I just drop anchor.
You've got a really good attitude. How about supplies? And how about people who might not be as prepared as you in terms of if they need medical help or they don't have enough food or water to last them for a few days? What would you say to them?
Well, I guess the most important thing is, do they have communications with the outside world? If they don't, it doesn't matter if EMO has anything set up, or the St. John Ambulance, or any of the church groups. If they have no communications to the outside world, well, that's, I think, shows the importance of our first responders, is that they tend to be able to identify those people, and usually they're pretty well on top of it to get those people out of difficulties. I know that it must be very stressful and overwhelming, especially for my neighbors down in Majorville, Sheffield, and in Jimsick and Grand Lake, to what's happening now. It's hard to imagine what they're going through. Some of these people, they have water halfway up inside their house. What that would be like, unless you experience it, I don't think you can imagine the emotion that would be generated from that experience.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The stress and anxiety would be overwhelming. Listen, we appreciate you sharing your experience with us, Andre, and good luck over the next few days. Thanks again for talking to us.
You're very welcome there. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. That's Andre Faust. He's a resident of Lower St. Mary's, New Brunswick, just down the road from Fredericton.